for humans.
There are a lot of difficulties in linking animal studies to human behaviors, and the biggest really is that there's tremendous variability within the animal world. The move from rats to primates is very problematic. You cannot assume that the mechanism that you study in one animal will be identical in a different species.
Even though Roger Gorski could not apply the results from his rat studies to human behavior, he considered it a step in that direction.
Given the fact that the general view in the clinical world was that nurture was by far the more important, I think our demonstration that hormones played a role, at least in my mind, challenged that view.
Another challenge to the primacy of nurture was beginning to develop inside the Reimer home. Brenda was having difficulty at school. As the Reimer family was dealing with her problems, John Money was publishing yet another book describing the twins as dramatic proof of his theories about gender. But far away from the textbooks, Brenda's reality was much different.
I could see that Brenda wasn't happy as a girl, no matter what I tried to do for her, no matter how I tried to instruct her. She was very rebellious. She was very masculine, and I could not persuade her to do anything feminine. Brenda had almost no friends growing up. Everybody ridiculed her, called her cave woman. She was a very lonely girl.
It wasn't long before the local psychiatrist looking after Brenda wrote to John Money about the concerns she had with Brenda's development. She was showing signs of being deeply disturbed. Now on estrogen, Brenda began overeating in an effort to conceal her growing breasts. She even began dressing like a boy. Problems at school escalated to a point where Brenda, in fear of her own safety, finally had to leave. In 1979, a BBC series called Open Secret revealed some of the problems Brenda was having adjusting to her life as a young woman. Claiming the show would violate Brenda's privacy, John Money refused to appear.
Dr. Money was describing the child.
But one of the psychologists treating Brenda in Canada was interviewed.
That she will ever make an adjustment as a woman.
Clinicians
Milton Diamond was interviewed as well.
may be faced with a similar decision.
During that production, it seemed to become clear to the psychiatrists that were treating the kids, the non-Hopkins psychiatrists, that the child was not developing as presented, and there was doubt expressed that the child would ever become a successful woman.
Many doctors and scientists continued to believe that the case was a success. John Money never published anything to suggest that Brenda Reimer had problems adjusting to her female role.
Unfortunately, there were few papers about the twins case. It was just the same stuff re-reported and re-reported, as if here is proof, and we never got more evidence. All we did was get reiteration of the first original story. And that's one of the things that convinced me I really want to find out what happened to the kid and prove it, see for myself.
As Milton Diamond went in search of new information, evidence against John Money's theories continued to mount. In Amsterdam, work was being done to find sex differences in the brains of humans.
It took quite some time to make the leap from Gorski's work into the human brain, because in the first place you need the right material. Post-mortem material of human beings without a brain disease is very hard to get.
It took 5 years to collect enough human brains for this research. Then the painstaking work began. Just as with the rats, slice after slice of male human brain was meticulously examined and compared to identical slices of female brain.
Ultimately, I think we measured over 100 brain samples. The difference between the male and female brain became gradually apparent.
Professor Schwab found what he thought to be evidence of sexual differences in the human brain. In the slide on the left, a portion of the hypothalamus, which regulates hormones, is larger in the male than in the female brain on the right. Could this be evidence that the root of what makes us feel male or female can be traced to the brain? To answer this question, the team in Amsterdam turned to a unique set of individuals. Emma Martin is a transsexual. She was born a genetically normal male, but she's spent her whole life feeling like a woman.
When I was 4 years old, something happened which I guess was the starting point of my realisation that I was different from other people. I was playing in the back garden in my pedal car, and I suddenly realised that there was a little girl in the garden next door, basically doing the same thing, just going up and down the garden on a tricycle. And I saw her through the fence, and I just realised that they'd made a mistake, and I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand why my parents were treating me as a boy.
Throughout her life, Emma was never able to accept her male gender, even though she was raised as a boy.
Transsexuals don't describe themselves as having a female brain. They describe themselves as being female. But of course this strong feeling to be a female should come from somewhere, and we are certain it's not coming from the heart, it's coming from the brain.
In the 1990s, Professor Schwab's team began to study the brains of transsexuals to see if there was some structural reason for their particular gender identity. He focused on the region of the hypothalamus where he had first noticed sex differences between male and female brains. After years of work, he found what he was looking for. In a tiny portion of the hypothalamus, the male transsexual brains looked similar to the female